Hi, I'm Victoria Pearson, but you can call me V, and today I am finally here with my lovely friend Rachel to talk about her new book. And I'm going to get her to say the title of her new book because I am not confident enough with my Spanish pronunciation. So, what is your book called?
My new book is called Sangre De Toro.
And that means?
That means bull's blood.
Oh, nice! And so, I already know because I was lucky enough to have read this before it was published, but why is your book called Bull's Blood? What is your book about?
Okay, so the book's called Bull's Blood because it is about a bull called Pepelito who escapes from a bullfight, and he very luckily ends up stumbling across a policewoman who takes care of him and really loves animals, but she before long discovers that she's investigating a serial killer, and also there are a number of quite bad people trying to get Pepelito. The main thing is that the bull escaping from the fight has made a number of people very, very mad, as well as there being a serial killer who made very angry by the escape of this bull.
I was going to say the two stories do interlink, but
yes.
You kind of said how. So.
Yes.
And so, is there a particular reader that you had in mind when you were thinking about this story? Like, is there a particular age group that you're aiming at, or?
I would say it's probably for adults rather than kids.
I agree.
Even though there is an animal on the cover, that does not mean that it's a particularly child-friendly book. That said, I don't think it's too graphic. So I think if you like thrillers, if you like murder mysteries or like detective fiction, you will hopefully like this book as well.
In a little while, Rachel is going to read a little bit of the book for us. I'm really looking forward to that, but we're going to chat a little bit more about the inspirations behind it and the research for it as well. So I asked Rachel to read a little bit of her book for us, and she was kind enough to agree to do that.
This is like from chapter 4, and for a little bit of context, the bull Pepelito is in Rita's house, and she's just coming back from work, and this is when he's just been there for a day, so not very long. He's still getting used to everything. A key turned in the lock. Rita walked in. She was shouting at someone. She sounded upset. Suddenly terrified, Pepelito kept still, fearing that she would hurt him. He pressed his nose to the floor. Absolutely not. You haven't spoken to me since before you married him. Now you call, and your husband's career, if you can call it that, is what you talk about. She slammed the door. Oh, really? Let me tell you something, Maria. I deal with death every day. I investigate murders. That's my job. And now you want me to help your husband find animals to kill. Pepelito's body tensed as she flung open the door to the living room. Think of our parents? Ha! Good one, sis. Why do you think of Dad when you married a man he hates as much as I do? She threw the phone onto the sofa. It bounced onto the tarpaulin. I'm sorry, Toro. Buenas tardes. Did I scare you? You've drunk 2 buckets. You must have been thirsty. She walked towards him cautiously, not looking him in the eye. He stood up clumsily, his hind legs backed into the corner, unsteady on his feet and weak from loss of blood. Oh, you need your medication. Alfonso said 6 o'clock. It should have been 2.5 hours ago. But work. Oh, I'm so sorry, Pobrecito. I'll call him now. Rita gulped. She snatched at the phone, got up, and walked out the door towards the bedroom. Moments later, she screamed. Hello? Yeah, fine. I don't know. He's obviously wandered about during the day. He's caused quite a lot of damage. He's peed on my bed.
Very challenging to write from an animal perspective.
Yes.
For me, like I said, it was a little bit easier because my animal was off in the woods being an animal, but your animal is trying to live in a flat with a human.
Yes.
That's a challenging pet to have.
Very.
But how difficult did you find it to write from the bull's perspective?
Well, I basically had to do quite a lot of research for that. So one of the things I did, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos about cows. I read a lot of articles about cows, and quite a lot of quite scientific ones as well. Both when they're in stressful situations and normally. So all of it's like sending texts and stuff, that was all from her point of view. But like, it's funny, I did get a little bit of criticism from one person in a writers group, because I was on a writers group, I can't remember where it was, but it was basically because in an early draft I'd written, had an American style fridge, and someone wrote, oh, would the bull really know that it was American style? And
that might be a little bit picky.
And I think, like,
you can go too far.
I was like, yeah, well, so I just put like a huge like metallic fridge, like, because yeah, I mean, some things the bull wouldn't know, but I mean, you know, you also have to like consider the reader here.
Yes.
You don't have to like over-explain. You don't want to over-explain everything, because otherwise, if you actually over-explain stuff, it gets a little bit more tricky to understand.
It can get confusing.
The other thing I did, so I watched lots of YouTube videos and articles and stuff, and I learned quite a lot when I was doing it. The other thing I did, which people might think is a bit weird, there's a field. The university owns a field in their grounds, and in this field are like cows that are used for like natural grazing. So like, rather than mowing it, like it's made to like replicate the natural how it would have been hundreds of years ago.
I'm trying to sell my husband on doing that in our back garden, but I don't think it's quite big enough for a cow. Miniature Jersey cow, that's what I want.
So basically, I when I was writing the book, I would go to this field and I would like watch how all the cows were behaving for like hours at a time.
You feel like a bit of a cow expert now then?
Actually, like, I wouldn't say an expert, but I kind of think I know more about cows now than the average person.
I feel like that about foxes.
also, there's a couple of Instagram, I mean, not that you really know a lot through Instagram, but there's a few that I subscribe to, which are sanctuaries and stuff, and as well as like giving a hit of dopamine, you get to watch them, you get to know quite a lot about, because you know there's like hundreds and hundreds of videos that you can watch, and
it also has the upside that when you're scrolling Instagram, then you can tell yourself that it's research, and you don't feel guilty for wasting your time anymore. It's a win-win.
exactly. But the thing is, I read an article about what tropes to avoid when writing an animal's point of view, and I've forgotten what website it's on now, but one of them was anthropomorphizing too much. You have to do it a bit.
You do need it to an extent.
You have to do it a bit.
I had that when I was writing Malcolm. I had ended up doing this very overcomplicated explanation for a bin, and one of my beta readers was like, just say bin. It took me ages to work out what you're talking about. Like, and another one was, don't write every animal like it's a dog, but actually do some research into how the animals behave, and give the animal some flaws. Just don't make it all the time just sitting around looking cute. Yeah, and I did enjoy you adding in the flaws of sharing a flat with a bull. Yes. They were quite extensive. I don't think she's getting that deposit back.
I don't think she's getting that deposit back either.
This is very much, even though the main character, would you say the bull's the main character?
No, I would say.
So the main character is a bull, but this is very much not a story for children. It does deal with a lot of sort of dark themes as well. Shall we talk a little bit about what inspired you to write this book? It's a fairly dark themed book. What made you want to write a story about bullfighting?
So one of the things, I was being involved in campaigns about banning bullfighting on and off through the years, and when I was a lot younger, I did put subtitles on a documentary, and it was like about bullfighting schools, and that is even too dark to go in the book. I'm afraid that I didn't even want to go. I didn't even want to go.
When you say bullfighting schools, do you mean like where adults go to learn?
It's both. It's a lot of it is like little kids learning to do it.
Really?
Yeah. And that is so dark.
That must be so dangerous for children
horrible
as well. Like, not just for the animals, which is horrible enough, but like, I can't imagine putting my child in that kind of danger. For what?
Yeah, I didn't. Again, that is so dark. I didn't even want to go there.
Yeah.
More recently, my inspiration for the book was a particular Tory politician
I really like that Rachel's going to be very careful about not mentioning this person so that I don't get sued.
Yeah, I think we better be careful. I mean,
everything that you say about
it's
this
true.
particular
It's
character
true.
is well sourced.
It's true.
Yeah.
And basically, it's a particular Tory politician, not just him, is involved in an organisation which organised trips for very wealthy, mostly Tories.
I think quite a lot of my audience might not know what Tories are. So when we're talking about Tories, we are referring to the Conservative Party, who up until extremely recently were running the country into the ground for the last 14 years. And they're probably more ideologically aligned with like the Republican Party.
Yeah.
A lot of my audience are American.
Okay. Yeah.
And Australia. Hi, Australia. I don't know why. But
I think the Tories. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's more. Yeah, they're definitely more aligned with the Republicans.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah. Especially this Tory.
Although oddly our colours are switched the other way around. Our Tories are blue and our Labour Party, who align more with the Democrats, are red.
Yeah. This organisation produces a magazine, and everything about it is the same. I kept everything the same, apart from changing the names because I didn't want to get sued. But they promote bullfighting, they organise trips to, and they don't have a private jet in real life, as far as I know. I was researching the book, it actually kind of became obvious how romanticised it was being. There's an article, which again I can put in the show notes, about depictions of bullfighting in British newspapers, and they found that even though this is a country where it's banned, the vast majority of mentions of it are positive. And when there's times when I think Catalonia banned it and a number of other places, that is always depicted as like separatists making trouble authoritarian, or like people that want to like destroy a traditional culture. Whereas in fact that is not really the case. Like a lot of the time when the Spanish colonised a lot of places, that was actually like one of their cultural traditions got imposed as a part of colonialism. So so that's why. And also just I kind of think like it's very, the way that it's been depicted has been very romanticised. I wanted to write something that was accurate.
Yeah, and showing the reality.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about how you got really into cow behaviour to learn how to work with cows. You must have had to have got quite deeply into the world of bullfighting to be able to.
Yeah.
That must have been quite grubbly. So what sort of sources did you use to research that sort of side of it? Because I'm guessing that you don't generally sort of read bullfighting magazines or frequent their websites.
No, I had to for the book. There's a particular blog of a matador that I read. There's more than one. I did a lot of scientific papers about cows, how the whole thing of bullfighting affects cows. Yeah. Also, I read quite a lot by a charity called Cat International, which campaigns against bullfighting.
I'm thinking that they endorsed your book as well.
Yeah, they did. They did, yeah.
Fantastic. That must have been like sort of, because you're a person who, Rachel also has a podcast where she talks about ladybirds and things like that. She's very sort of into animal conservation, wildlife conservation, environmental stuff. So that must be really difficult for you to have to sink your way into that sort of thing. Like, how did you look after your mental health while you were doing that?
Prior to writing this book, I had done quite a lot of research on the particular guy that I mentioned as an inspiration for the book and the organisation, and so writing the book was actually quite cathartic. Without giving too much away, some of the people in the book get what they deserve, and that
cathartic.
And it was, and hopefully if you're against bullfighting, you'll read the book and think he deserved it, or whatever.
And as a writer, there really isn't a lot more cathartic than killing somebody that you dislike in your text.
Yes, I would absolutely agree. Yeah, I think in terms of looking after my mental health, I think a lot of the time, as I mentioned, I went for long walks in that particular field with the cows.
Yeah, so I'd imagine just like taking it slow, taking breaks from it, and keeping in touch with why you're doing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would have found that very difficult to research. I'm vegetarian as well, but some of the times actually you sent me some of your research while you were doing it, and I was like, oh, I don't think I can read this.
Oh, that was when, most of the research was actually for this article that I wrote, before I wrote the book. Yeah, I'm really sorry, I hope I didn't traumatise you.
Over the last sort of 20 years, we've come a real long way in terms of animal rights and children's rights as well, and how you're supposed to treat them. It would have been... It's unthinkable now to leave a dog in a hot car, but when I was a child, we used to leave our kids in there. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I do remember like campaigns and stuff when I was a kid by the RSPCA about not leaving your dog in a hot car, but people still used to do it, clearly. So
I hope that you have enjoyed hearing all about Rachael's book. I know that I've been promising you guys that I will do that for about 3 or 4 months now, so I have finally got around to it. I do keep my word eventually, but obviously the most important thing that we want to know about is where can we get hold of a copy of the book?
So you can buy it on Amazon, and there should be a link in the show notes. 2 options to get it, either on a paperback or a ebook. From time to time as well, I do have signed copies to give away, so like in that case just message me on Instagram, and that's probably the best way to contact me.
Now I will put Rachael's Instagram at the bottom of the page here, and I will also put it in the description and the comments as well if I remember to, because sometimes it's easier for somebody to see things in the comments. But what is available on Amazon, and that is his ebook and paperback. I'm very privileged to be involved in the pre-publication bits of reading it. I do enjoy it very much.
Honestly, like your feedback was actually incredibly useful, so thank you very much. So
what should
I sign it to?
Just V. There we are. Thank you so much. Check that out. That is fantastic. I'm really, really looking forward to getting this home. I'm not going to be able to read it straight away because I'm fairly sure that my children will steal it from me first. They are older teenagers, so I think that will be okay. We won't let the little one read it just yet, though.
No.
And thank you so much for coming to speak to me today. It has been lovely speaking to you.
It's been really nice speaking to you as well.
I'm really, really looking forward to talking to you about your book, and I'm really, really glad that we got the chance to, because poor Rachel had to do a 2-hour bus drive to get here, and now she's got to do another 2-hour bus ride home again. And it looks like it's about to start raining, so fantastic that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed my little chat with Rachael as much as I did. It was a real challenge to cut it down because we did end up nattering for hours and hours, and I ended up with over an hour's worth of footage on there, even with my unusable stuff that I had accidentally done on a big slope and you couldn't see my head. So that was my chat with Rachael that I've been meaning to do for ages, and it's even longer than I originally said to you, because although I've been meaning to get her on to talk about her book for ages, I've actually known Rachael for nearly 10 years and we've never actually met, even though we only live a couple of hours from each other, so it was lovely to have that opportunity to do that today. I will be back on Monday. Not sure what I am vlogging about yet. It's another little chaos vlog from me, but you're used to them by now. If you can't wait until Monday to see me again, I understand. I will be here every single morning in your shorts, taking a great big deep breath, letting you know what I'm grateful for, and sometimes letting you know what is challenging me that day as well. And I will also be here on a Witchy Wednesday doing a little intuitive tarot card read for you. But until then, you have yourself a magical week.